Alright, what's up? Welcome back. Well, I know I said in the last video I wasn't going to do this, I wasn't going to jump around, but I want to start this video off with kind of finishing up part of the last video anyway. I needed to correct some paint mistakes on the cab, the doors and the roof. Didn't turn out as good as the rest of the truck because we didn't have enough material to do it correctly, so there was some kind of shortage on one of the pigments of paint that we needed to make this color. So the local paint shop was finally able to get that in, so now I was able to get the paint mixed up, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, my buddy Dennis came down, and we masked off the cab, we reshot the doors, we reshot the roof. I've already got it restriped, turned out great, matches the rest of the truck perfectly, so I just want to show that. Plus, the bed, I got the rest of the aluminum skins finished to the bed, they turned out great, so I want to show that real quick. Then we're going to jump right into getting this transfer case done. I got that on the bench all tore down, so we're going to get that rebuilt, get it upgraded, get it installed, and then I'm going to jump on showing the modifications to my 9-inch rear axle, the Duff torque tamer, anti-rat bar, and the modifications I'm going to have to do to that to make it work on this truck. So let's get into it.
So that's how much this shit went up to, huh?
Yeah, it's gone up a lot.
Yeah,
All right, the paint correction is now done. This turned out way better. Now the paint is nice and thick on the doors, and we reshot the roof, so now you can't see all the old sanding marks and body work and all the other stuff that was underneath it. That was just, the paint was just too thin to cover because we ran out. So much better, matches perfect. Just got to let it cure up for a day or so before I go bolting everything back on and then restriping it. And then while we had a bunch of extra paint mixed up, went ahead. This is a big 10-foot sheet of aluminum. This is going to be, we painted that ahead of time, so this is what I'm going to use to cut out the patterns for these panels on both sides of the truck. So top side will be the body color, the bottom side will be a real thick coat of bed liner, so hopefully protect it from rocks and stuff. But yeah, so just gotta, once that's all dried and cured, I'll mask it off, put my pattern on it, and cut it out, lay it on there, and that's pretty much it. Very happy. Turned out great. Alright, so I took my that painted sheet of aluminum, cut it out with the cardboard pattern that I made, sprayed the bottom side of it with some Duplicolor undercoating. I'll put a couple coats on there. Back side. Looks beautiful. It's gonna look real good. And on the truck, I got my tabs. The holes all drilled and tapped. So that's all done. So as soon as that undercoating dries tomorrow, I will go ahead and slap those on, and I'm going to trim out the whole edge of that with some of that rubber door edge guard. Some of that stuff right there. So should have a nice finish edge to it, and then I won't have no, metal to metal contact. Nothing will vibrate, buzz, make noise. And like I said, there's felt on all these cross members here where it sits. So, oh, and then the bolts, stainless cap screws, and I've got little 1/4-inch rubber washers. So should work out perfectly. Okay, let's let it dry. That just looks freaking awesome. All trimmed out. Got the stainless cap screws, rubber washers. And the whole bottom side is bed liner. Hopefully catch the rocks. Hopefully won't make too many dents in it. But damn, I like that a lot. So I'm going to spare you the boring details on a step-by-step rebuild of the Dana 20. There are plenty of those on YouTube because I have definitely referred to them myself again. It's been about 4 years since I've been through one of these, and I've only done one before. But anyway, it's going pretty good. It's almost done. It's all going back together now. I got the advanced adapters, heavy-duty output housing on it now. We got all the new stuff in it. Only thing left to do, well, I got the so the twin stick shift rails. I replaced the stock ones, put in these JB Fab twin stick rails. Got those in there. Those are a real fun job to do. So those are done. Output housing is on. So now I just have to repack all the bearings, everything in the center idler, and then tap that thing in. That'll be fun. Getting all those to stay put while I get the shaft through. So we'll get that done, and then there's the shaft that goes on the output of the trans. So we're good. Just gotta clean it up one more time. I already put like one little coat of core seal on it. Looking pretty good. So this will be done here shortly. Then we can go ahead and get it in the truck. And finally measure for drive shafts. Get the anti-rat bar on. This has been kind of a hold up here for a little while, so getting it done. Okay, so I got the transfer case. It's all done, rebuilt, painted, ready to go in. But nope, hold on. I screwed up. I totally forgot the, I don't know if you call this the spud shaft. This is what goes up into the extension housing on the trans, and the output shaft of the trans goes in here. This is the one for the C4. I totally forgot. AOD uses a completely different one. So, yeah, I got to take this back apart and then pull the drive gear off and swap everything over to this one here. Then I can go ahead and install it. But, yeah, it turned out real good. She's all ready to go. So I also took a few minutes, since the transfer case that I wanted to install, the paint was still wet. I couldn't touch it, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and throw the doors together real quick. So got out all my new weather strip. So I got the felt window channels out, dew wipes, got the glass all cleaned up. So I don't know, I don't remember, I've rebuilt a lot of these doors, like 6 of these doors over the years, and I ran into a couple interesting things. Number one, the dew wipes. These doors are actually a Gen 2 door, it'd be like 89 and up. Obviously my truck is a Gen 1. The Gen 2 doors are a little different in that, you can see on this one over here, they had a different door panel, and they put a door speaker in the doors, which Gen 1s don't have. But the one thing I didn't realize is, actually, I'll go show you. Because the Gen 2 door panels have the dew wipe integrated into the door panel on the interior, where the Gen 1s, the door panel only comes to here. See these little holes? And that's where the dew wipes snap in. Well, they should be on both sides on a Gen 1 door. Well, Gen 2 doors, they didn't put those holes in it. So I had to get a little creative. And on the inside, I'll show you over here. Okay, I'm gonna take a little walk. So what I ended up doing was the clips on the dew wipes here, I ended up just removing these, pulled all these clips out, and I just used some good 3M double-sided tape, laid it all on here, and then just stuck it to the door. And on this one, worked out perfect. It's in place. It's good. You know, it always has the tension from the glass pushing back on it, so that's all good. Weather strip, everything turned out fine there. Glass is in. There's another channel that bolts into the door. The glass rides in right here. I don't know why, but this felt strip that goes in the door frame, it goes from probably down here all the way up and over and around, and it stops right there. There's a whole nother channel, the window guide right here, and there's no felt to go in that. So my solution was I just had some of this felt that I had bought. I had a bunch of rolls of this stick-on felt padding. And I basically just lined the whole inside of that channel with that felt, so I don't have that glass touching, you know, metal. So that turned out fine. Just a little surprise. So two little hiccups on this, but anyway, there are my Scott Rod Fab aluminum door panels. Scott made these for me years ago for my white turbo truck. I love these. They left me for a little bit. They went to my buddy Eric's house with the truck that I sold, and I ended up getting these back. So I put them in this truck, and I think they fit the motif of this interior perfectly. So yeah, everything else turned out freaking great. Love how this looks. It's going to be perfect. Nice durable aluminum door panel. So yeah, just got to go ahead and finish up the other door, and I can check these off the list. All right, check that out. We have a transfer case and twin sticks now installed. Boy, that was a fun job. But there we go. Those are done. Transfer case. Had to get some help from Lisa getting that installed there. Kind of weird that on the back of the C4 extension housing, they have a nice little, probably half-inch alignment dowel that kind of helps you get the transfer case up and then into position where it won't flop down. Well, this AOD one did not have that. So I basically had to hold the transfer case up and kind of tilt it to the right angle while Lisa was in here kind of going through the floor, hand starting a couple bolts for me to hold it in position. So she all worked out. So let's take a peeky peek here real quick. Oh my goodness. So there we go. Dana 20 is in. Had to remove the tranny cross member to get to some of the bolts and stuff, so no big deal there. That's all done. She's still tucked up, no lower than the radius arm brackets, actually about even with the bottom of the frame rail, so that's good. Positioning looks really good. Only thing I have a concern about is if you draw a line of sight from this front output yoke to the yoke on the Dana 44, at full stuff, man, I hope this dry shaft does not come in contact with that trans pan. This AOD is a lot wider than the C4, so man, I hope that is not going to be an issue, because if it is, I don't know what the heck to do about that. Okay, a couple of things worth noting. Since this is, God, I can't speak, the Yukon center section, it has got a lot more ribbing and reinforcing in here. So the anti-rat bar bracket would not sit flush in here. So what I had to do was I put washers down in the holes, the recess holes for the original nuts, to make that level all the way across here for the bracket to sit. I had to grind this corner of the carrier away, and also on the bracket I had to take some meat out of that corner there where the marker is, and then also right here. Now that that is clearanced, she drops right down, sits nice and flush, straight, how it should be. One thing I'm concerned about is man, the fill plug, that's going to be fun to get to once I got a nut on here. Not going to leave a lot of room for a ratchet to get on that. Now it's making me regret my decision to not put a drain and fill plug in the back side of the housing, but yeah, I guess I'll deal with that. So anyway, just noteworthy for that. Now everything fits, sits on there correctly, so now I can bolt all that up. So here's a 9-inch back in its proper orientation. See the pinion guard, and there is the bolt-on anti-rat bar bracket. So they sell this kit in 2 different versions. They have this bolt-on bracket for the center section, or the kit comes with weld brackets supposed to go in the axle tubes, like out here. I didn't like the idea of having my anti-rat bar that far away from the center of the chassis, so I didn't use that. I did the bolt-on one, so you can see how close it's going to put it to the center of the chassis, close to the drive shaft. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take part of the weld-on kit, and I'm going to use it to reinforce the bolt-on kit. This is one of the weld-on tabs. I put a washer in between these 2 brackets for just a little bit of gap. I'm going to clean all this off down to bare metal, and I'm going to weld that tab to the housing, and that'll help reinforce the bolt-on bracket, so just those 4 studs are not carrying all the load and all the weight. So I think that'll help strengthen that up substantially too. So also while I was down here, I'm starting to figure out how I'm going to modify this James Duff torque tamer bar to work with this wheelbase truck. So I got the anti-rat bars on. I have the bottom heim joint bottomed out all the way. That will essentially change the angle of the bar. And I'm using some of my laser levels here to kind of get things lined up. And let's see here. Let me turn this one on. So this one here, I have shooting straight up and basically running right down the center of the bottom tube. It goes through the center of that tube. And then there's the cross member. So you can see where the James Duff just tacks that hinge bracket on there so you can modify it. It's off due to the Ranger chassis being different width than the early Bronco one. So here is the center of that torque tamer tube, is where this shackle, I'm going to have to break the tacks, move this over, and center it right there to make sure this bar stays in line. Also, the other level, it's off right now, the one that's on the tripod. That one I had drawing a line all the way through the middle of this tube and extending it out to see where the end of this tube is going to end up, and it is much higher than where that shackle is right there. So obviously, end of the torque tamer, it comes with a bushing. I don't want that. I'm going to be chopping that off, and I have a piece of tubing here that was a steering link with a heim in it. That tube is going to be used to extend this one, and instead of having a bushing, which I feel like will bind at extreme articulation, I'll have me a heim joint at the shackle end, so it won't, hopefully not have any bind when the axle is articulating left and right. So I'm going to have to, I think I'm going to have to pause here, and I'm going to have to get the rear drive shaft built, because the placement of this shackle needs to probably be
where I guess the second U-joint, there's going to be a double cardan joint. So it'll be a mounting flange, a U-joint, and another U-joint, and then from there the dry shaft. I need to have this thing pivoting right where that second U-joint is. So this will probably get slid back on the frame rail at least a little bit. So not something I can just guess on. I'm going to have to hold off and get the dry shaft made. And then from there, once that's done, I can go ahead and finalize the position of this and do all my modifications to the anti-wrap bar. And then that will be done. Also, I guess completely off the current topic, but anyway, made me some little speaker boxes for my Rockford Fosgate. What are these, 5x7s? Just some leftover aluminum, kind of bent it up, put some nut certs in the cab, mounted them up. They're actually mounted with a foam baffle, so their speakers are actually enclosed. So the foam baffle is actually kind of the speaker box. I may do something to cover this up, trim that off or whatever. And I took a piece of plywood, just hit it with some chassis black, and I have that screwed in from the back side of the cab. Amplifier for the stereo system obviously is there. And then the rest of this is going to give me somewhere probably all the relays for all the lighting, the transmission, fan cooler, the chase light. There's going to be a few things. Oh, the switch for the overdrive for the transmission. All these, I'm going to have just basically an electrical panel back here with all my relays, my wiring, everything laid out back here so it'll be easy to get to, all in one place. And should work out pretty slick. Alright, I think I'm going to end this video off here. It's already a little bit longer than what I planned it to be, so I'm kind of dead in the water. Today's a Sunday. Tomorrow I'll call the dry shaft shop that's right behind where I work. I got my measurements. I got everything for that. So I'll give them a call and see what we can get started for a rear dry shaft for this. Once the dry shaft is done and installed and I know my pinion angle's good, then I can go ahead and finish up the anti-wrap bar. I'm going to be cutting that up quite a bit to make that work. So anyway, that's it for this video. If you liked it, like it. Got a question, leave a comment. Share it if you want. Yeah, that's about it. We'll catch you on the next one. And man, pretty soon here, another video or so, we're going to be jumping into a lot of the wiring and plumbing, and we're not going to be far off. This thing will be running here pretty soon, I hope. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for subscribing. And thank you for making it this far into the video if you did. So appreciate that a lot. So we'll see you on the next one. Bye.